Let's just start the recording, right? Like, repeat what you just said. How's life? How's family? How's everything going?
Life is good, man. Going through the typical, 4 kids stuff. You know what that's like.
4 boys, right? Well, I don't know what four is like. I have three, but 4 boys is a lot. How's that going?
It's going good, man. Wild boys. One's teething. They're 5 and under, so
Yeah.
one's teething. They wake up at night. The normal stuff, but for the most part, they sleep good and they're balls of energy.
My friend, I'm glad you're on the show today. And whenever I think about my boy, Jonathan Gehrig, there's several things that come into my mind. The first thing I always think about is when you and I were talking early. Like when I was on West Coast, you were East Coast. I'd get up early and I was in this bathroom in this house in Placerville, California. We had really no, I mean, the power was suspect on certain rooms. It was like a rental house. It was beat up. I remember going into this bathroom and having these conversations with you that were on a different level. And that's that bond that you and I have. Like, I haven't talked to you in, man, bro, it's been a long time. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I can't remember, maybe 6, 8, 9, 10 months ago, maybe.
Yeah.
That's first of all, that's way too long. You and I need to talk way more often because the conversations we had were great and they meant so much to me, but they were on just different level conversations, right? I mean, it was like vulnerable. Let's talk about what our struggles are in life. And I miss that a lot. So I was really looking forward to the show and having you on, really for the conversation, and looking forward to having you on the show. So Jonathan Gehrig, man, hey, welcome to the podcast, bro.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I miss our conversations as well.
Is this the first one you've been on?
I believe so. I was trying to think back. I think we had talked about doing one before, and maybe we jumped on and did one. Maybe we just had a conversation. I feel like all of our conversations are. I think all of our conversations are like a podcast show. So
they are, bro. They are, man. We go deep. We talk about struggles, and you look about where we were and where we are now, man. It's awesome. And what you've done is so inspiring with your life, and some of the things I respect so much about you is the first thing that jumps out at me that I respect most about you is that no matter your crazy success, your love for your family has never gone away. Your love for your wife, I mean, the respect that you hold for your wife. Let's be real, bro. I mean, you talk about your wife on Facebook, like, check this hot girl out. She's badass. She is sexy as hell. But that's the respect and the relationship that I know. Listen to this podcast and me jealous, bro. Like I want that relationship. How does that relationship start, and what does that relationship mean to you?
Yeah, great question. I just, quite frankly, if I take it back to childhood and watching my parents go through divorces and my dad being single for many years, 12 to 13 years, just to raise his kids. And I knew from a young age that I just wanted one woman. I wanted to just fall in love and have one woman. And my parents have been married 9 times collectively. So it was always something that was at the forefront of my mind. I mean, I wrote a paper in 3rd grade. It was illegible, but I wrote a paper about marriage. I wrote a paper about marriage in 3rd grade. I remember it very vividly that I put on there, in order to have a successful marriage, you need love and respect and communication. Those were the 3 things. And so I always kept that, it's odd that as a 3rd grader, I recognized that, but I noticed that my parents couldn't communicate well together. And I noticed that there was a lack of respect from my mom to my dad. And clearly there was a challenge with the love area. So when I got older and I started looking for a wife, I was just very honest with the women that I was talking to, that I was looking to settle down. At 24 years old. And so when I met my wife, I just happened to meet the right person at the right time and told her over the phone, I'm looking for a wife. If that's not you, if you're not ready for that level of commitment, I'm not looking for, some type of game. And so I treated it sort of like a sales call where I interviewed her. And long story short, once I said, will you marry me? I chose to intentionally pursue my wife on a regular basis. And there's, there's been ups and downs with that. Like, do I write her a letter every single day? No. Does she love it when I do that? Yeah, she does. She loves that. But I do make it a point to, tell her how sexy she is and how much I appreciate her and love her on a regular basis. And then I do everything I can to intentionally put her first, over business, over sales calls. And she's seen that. I will move my calendar around, and I might be a 7-figure potential opportunity I'm working on, and I will reschedule that call for 2 weeks later, running the risk of possibly losing that deal. Yeah. To go to help her with whatever she needs help with. So I put her first. I put my kids first, and I consistently date her. Right? We constantly, we don't. Sometimes we miss it, but man, I believe that people. It's not about falling in and out of love. I have chosen to love my wife and make her the one that I'm infatuated with.
Well, it's interesting because so many things go through my mind when you talk about that. First thing is, well, man, how do I put this correctly? Well, first of all, I'm super jealous. I think it's amazing. I think it's the coolest, most authentic relationship on Facebook. Like, you should almost do like a reality show. Like, but it's real. Like, it's so real. And I would tell you this. Well, the question I have for you is, I know the type of person you are. I know the type of father you are. I mean, they just don't get any better. But tell me, like, on her perspective, like, as a woman, what does she sacrifice for you? Because I think sometimes with super successful guys, and I consider myself super successful, I struggle with that relationship to find a woman that respects the success of the man. And again, I'm not trying to sound sexist when I say this, because if a woman is more successful than me, I'm all in. I'm all in. But I think that dynamic of that relationship that you guys have is something that is, for me, is extremely envious. Like, I think to myself, like, man, how do I find a woman like that? And this podcast really wasn't even, I have a whole list of things I'm going to go over with. It has nothing to just, I don't know, it's going this way just because it went that way. But on your wife's side of the story, what do you think that's going through her head? Like, what makes her a successful wife?
Yeah, another great question. So, give you a little bit of background on her. When I met her, she was doing 4 things that were income producing. Right. Owned her own business, was running a business for her, managing a business for her dad. She's a very independent woman. And I was the first guy that came along that was direct with her and knew where I was going. And so she's made a lot of sacrifices, because she could be running a company right now. She could be doing her own business and be crushing it. But she made it intentional. And just to give an example, she became a bodybuilder. And 13 weeks after she started that process, she won her first competition and went to a national competition and got 15th or 16th place nationally in one of the most competitive female sports out there, and in the toughest league, the NPC. So that being said, she could do anything she wanted. She made the intentional choice to partner with me in what my goal was, which was to be a business owner, be an intentional father, and to create a life for us that we wouldn't have to make decisions based on the dollar bill. So she sacrifices a lot. And I know every day for her is it's an intentional choice for her to be a mom and to be a stay-at-home mom. And so we just, I make sure to give her whatever she needs, and provide her with whatever resources she needs to do the things that help her to continue to have that individuality.
Does it sound cliche when you say, and again, I'm just asking this because I'm putting myself in perspective with, and I mean, believe me, what you're saying, I couldn't agree more, because a couple different things. I think this sounds, I don't want this to sound terrible, but no one could do a mother's role better than a mother. And I think within today's society, I think it's getting less and less the importance of a mother role. The mother takes care of the children. This sounds so terrible, and I'm not trying to make it like that. Like, I promise you, I'm not. Support her husband. That sounds terrible when I say it, because I'm not trying to take any independence away from that. But I think we've gone away from a lot of the fabric of a family, and to say that out loud, the first thought in my head says that that's actually a harder role to maybe not go for her goals and dreams, or maybe put them on hold. But a bigger role is not only support you, which is important, it's very important, but to support the role of a mother to raise 4 boys that are young boys. I think society has 2 different things, and I think it's kind of, for lack of better words, effed up right now, because I think the role of a mother raising 4 boys and supporting her husband is such an important role. And I'm not trying to take feminism, or like, I had to say that preface with this podcast. It's sad that I have to do this, but I think that is so much harder and so important, because without her support, no disrespect to you, Jonathan, but you're probably not shit without the peace of mind to have her supporting the boys when you're struggling, you're down and out, you're having a bad day. She's supporting the boys and supporting you at the same time. She's running your business. When you said partner, it's like a partner of a corporation. It's like and again, it's like 51% or 49% of the ownership. She's probably 51% of the ownership of this partnership, because she's got so many other things going on. Without her, you fade away. And I always think that's extremely important nowadays with the fabric of families. I think that are getting eaten away. I think they're coming back. I really think that's coming back, but I don't want to downgrade what she's doing. I think it's more important for what she does, and it's harder mentally for her to not only support you, but when she's thinking, I know I could do my own thing, but also she's got to raise 4 boys. And I'm not trying to say by herself, but that's a mother role, and you have a big position with your company. It's tough, man. And that's why I respect so much about her. And when I watch you guys on Facebook, it's just like, for me, the way I look at it, I love you like a brother, but I look at it as her as really the foundation of your company, of your family. And without her, I believe you would be in trouble. Call me crazy.
I agree. No, I agree with you. I mean, it's the beginning of our relationship. We both describe it as a business contract. And
what's wrong with that though, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I think it's better than saying, oh, I fell into lust with this person and I think I want to marry this person for the rest of my life. We came into it and said, yeah, we're both attractive people. That's great. But we love our personalities. I loved her personality. She loved my personality. We liked the vision of where I discussed that we wanted to go. And we both made an agreement, and it's changed, right? Things have changed along the way. However, it was a business contract. And so to just speak to that point, there are some moms out there that will say that it is tough raising 4 kids, but they send their 4 kids to daycare all day and they go work a job. True. And no offense to you if you do that, but my wife literally homeschools our kids. Yeah. She's with them all day. It is a much tougher job. She would much rather, it would be the easy path for her to go get a corporate job or to start a business. It would be much easier. She has the much tougher job between the 2 of us. So when I stop for the day, I take over, right? She relaxes. I step in. I take the kids to baseball, right? I hang out with the boys after hours. And then on the weekends, we do it together.
Yeah. No, exactly right. I mean, I think, just again, I think when you talked about like coming into a contract or a business decision, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, that's like, how are we going to make this family successful? This is the roles we're going to play. I'm going to support you, you support me, and this is how we're going to make this company successful. And I think, again, and I go back to it, I follow you, obviously I follow you on social media, and man, I just love watching it, bro. I mean, it's so inspiring. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy. I love it. And I'm going to transition this conversation and really what I want to talk to you about today too. And again, I'm talking to Jonathan Gehrig. I mean, BFF. I mean, I love this dude. I haven't talked to this guy in a while, but you could tell him and I would go way back. But one of the things that I love this conversation, bro. On February 26th, you put, I quit Christianity. And another one of the things I respect most about you is your faith, your love for God, your love for family. You're one of the best business guys I know. And the reason you're one of the best business guys I know is because you give a shit. I mean, you're not that guy. You're not the guy that's like wheeling, dealing, cheesy shit. You care. You're all in. You're that dude. And when you put on here, I quit Christianity, and you have 34 likes, but you have 270 comments on here. Talk to me. I really want you to just go into this conversation a little bit, because I have a lot of takes. I have a little conversations, and I don't want to comment on here because it's almost like walking into the lion's den. And I know that's how you've kind of probably felt when you put that out there, to hear all these comments about people. Some of these people are attacking you, which is bizarre. And it's I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, which is bizarre and concerning that they would attack you. But I read every single, I think I read all 270 comments. I'm that guy that I read every single one, word for word, read your responses, read your comments. And if you're out there listening, Jonathan Gehrig the second, follow him and then check this post out. But talk to me a little bit about that post. I quit Christianity.
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying at 19 years old, I quit supporting professional sports. Right. I was a Raiders fan, which maybe some people out there say was probably pretty easy to quit, right? Being a Raiders fan. But let me say this. I'm a disruptor. I was put on this earth to disrupt. And if you look into scripture, there are some major disruptors, Jesus being one of them, right? As Yeshua walked this earth, he was a disruptor in such a way that the leaders came out, chastised him to the point of crucifixion. So when I say I quit Christianity, sometimes when I feel like it, I will jump on social media and I will post something very disruptive. The aim is to get people to question and contemplate. And I believe a big thing that we miss in being followers of Christ and being believers in the great I am, I believe we miss this one word, contemplation, right? Nobody on this post that posted anything that came as an attack, none of them knew me. They follow me on social media, but not one of them knew me. Every person that knew me understood where that comment was coming from, where that statement was coming from. And the truth is that I quit Christianity years ago. And so when I posted this, I posted it in a whim of, I had this thought that I wonder who this will disrupt, and I want to see who this will bring out. And if you go through and read the comments, the people that were bashing me weren't, you say it, they were kind of attacking me. But if you go and read their comments, what they were trying to do was evangelize me. They were actually trying to evangelize me. No different than the way that they were trying to evangelize Jesus as he went out and disrupted. So as I have grown in my relationship with God, and I've grown in my professional career and as a business owner, I've noticed that there are a lot of people who are just floating, and they will take information from a business guru. They will take information from a book. They will take information from the Bible. They will take information from their priest, their pastor, their preacher, and they will take that as gospel without contemplation. We have the art of thinking has absolutely been lost for the majority of people. And I'm not saying that it's gone. I'm just saying a lot of people they're floating while taking this information and just taking the information that they're hearing as gospel. And if you'll notice that a lot of people that attack me, some of them actually posted their leader or the person that evangelized them into Christianity. And they said, hey, what do you have to say about this? One person said that. What I could tell you is that if we went and interviewed the individuals that quote unquote, attacked me, and then you go interview the people that evangelized them, they're probably very similar to the gentleman that used to come onto campus at Appalachian State University. And every time he would show up on campus, if it was a sunny day and there were girls wearing skirts, he would call them Jezebels and whores. And that was their method of evangelizing the quote unquote, the lost.
You know, one of the things, you know, I think we've talked about this 1,000 times, like I'm agnostic at best. We've had conversations about this, but it constantly goes back to how much I respect and love you about your faith. And when you put that on there, I'm like, this is so good. This is so good. And it shows for me that I took two things out of it. And one's a pessimistic thing, and one's an optimistic thing. The pessimistic thing I initially took out with all these people that are trying to defend Christianity are using it in such a terrible, attacking, negative way. It's the same people that go to church on Sundays and then tell you, you know, and live a completely different life on Monday. These people put this front on, and when you say question, I don't know if they really know who they are or why they believe what they believe. They're just, like you said, they're just quoting shit that they hear, and it sounds good, but they don't really know who they are as actual individuals. That's one side of it. And the other side was just beautiful with your responses. Some of the questions you would put on there, and people would just attack you, and you were, I can't quote it because I don't have it pulled up, but it reassured me about how comfortable and how set, I don't know how the word is, but how comfortable you are with your faith. And it's so respectful. It's a beautiful thing. Yet people that are defending Christianity are attacking this beautiful thing. That is an issue that I have with all religions. I truly do. As a agnostic at best, born and raised Catholic, I get it. But when I see things like that, like I see someone that they're trying to tell me that they're Christian, yet why are you going to hell, Jonathan? This is bullshit. Who do you think you are? This is terrible. Like, if you're, and again, I don't know it that well, but if you're truly Christian and you love everybody, and like you said, you begin to ask questions. Well, why? Why would you quit Christianity? Why would you think that? And that's the part of the conversation. There's a couple people that ask that in there. But as a true Christian that loves God, that loves their life, that loves everybody, to attack somebody like you that is so passionate about their faith and their love in God, it was so eye-opening on multiple levels. It didn't change anything that I thought, because I know there's just those people out there that just judge just to judge, and those people wear me out. But it reassured me that there's people like you out there that are so strong in their faith that you can put that out there. I quit Christianity, and yet take shots from all people that are quote unquote Christians and defend your love for God, and they're not even seeing it. They don't even see that side of the story, which is so eye-opening. I know there are people like you out there, and you're the type of people I love and respect the most. But it also showed that there's a lot of people out there, and I don't even know if they realize it. They went back and read it. Like, man, this is a deficiency in my life. This is not what Jesus taught. This is not what Muhammad taught. This is not what God teaches. This is not what I've read in the Bible. Yet they're doing it right in front of their face, and that's disturbing at best. And I love your post. It showed a lot of respect, a lot of restraint for you to do that and set that example. And again, this is why I love you, brother. You're a great parent. You're a disruptor. You're extremely faith-driven. You don't have a jump shot on you. I saw you shooting hoops the other day. I got a cheap shot on you there, but I just love you like a brother. You know that. And then obviously you're a great business guy. I mean, that's the other thing too, man. You're crushing in business. Obviously, you're consulting companies. If I tie it right back in, I'm going to get into the questions I always like to ask of the show. But the first half hour was just really just those questions I had for you. But I know you're a consultant. I know you're a coach. I know you're doing all things in business. Tell me a little bit about what you do with your company and how you support other companies.
Yeah, great question. So I have just like I said, I was a disruptor. I had this mission to really disrupt the business consulting community. So we do business growth consulting, business management consulting. And so we work 90% of the people that we work with, the first thing they want us to help with is that bottom line. How do we create a better system for qualified leads and create a sales engine? So I do have a book coming out called Unlimited Leads, Unstoppable Sales Engine, that'll be out in the next 60 days. And the mission behind that is to prove to companies that you can actually create those systems outside of paid for marketing, right? To create an actual system for unlimited leads, which I know you're familiar with, right? How do we get referrals? What do we have in our hands? So we take a company and we show them what's in their hands, how to utilize that to maximize profit there. Then we move to the paid for avenues, and we'll help companies with actual lead systems that are paid for, text message campaigns, email campaigns, LinkedIn, social media ads, Google Maps, all that stuff. So we help businesses scale, which is a little bit different than growth, right? If you grow, a lot of times when you're growing, your expenses go up with your growth. So your net profit, the actual dollar amount that you're bringing in, not even just the percentage, but the actual dollar amount you bring in, stays about the same as you grow, right? Run into companies like this all the time. So people need to know that there's a point in time where your business will plateau like that. And you need to understand what scaling is and how to actually put that into process. Because 96% of businesses will never sell. Right now, 96% of the businesses that are open, they don't sell, right? They have no chance of being sold. They don't have stuff in place. And that's not even talking about all the businesses that fail. That just goes to show that, 5 or 6%, 4% of businesses they'll ever have a chance to sell. But why does somebody start a business? They want to do what? Create a legacy.
Sure.
Right. And they want to potentially sell it, retire from it. Right. They want to exit at some point in time. But oftentimes business owners, entrepreneurs get in and they become what? An employee.
Mm-hmm.
They become an employee and they stay an employee. They actually never graduate out into entrepreneurship and actually just being the owner and running a business. And we help businesses identify that path.
Well, it's super smart. In a market like this, that a lot of people are looking for opportunities, they don't really know how to, I mean, they're running businesses, but they don't know how to get to the next level. And that's, again, where you're changing lives, not only financially, but, family wise too. You're doing a lot of good things for a lot of different people. And I respect the shit out of you for that. But JC, John Gehrig the second. Let's get into the questions from John Maxwell's book, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. 7 of my favorite questions of all time. And do you know any of these questions? Have you heard them all? Or been part of?
Yes. So yeah, absolutely. Shoot, man. I'm ready.
Let's get into it. Question number 1 is, what is the greatest lesson you've ever learned?
The greatest lesson I ever learned, man, is to be a disruptor, to question everything. Right. That's what I think being a disruptor means, is you question everything.
That's such a great point, but it's easier said than done, right? Like, most people get comfortable with where they are. And I think that's what happens when you talk about plateauing. They don't become a disruptor. Like, you get caught in your role, and I'm comfortable with my income. I'm just going to stay right here forever. And then I'm not going to upset the apple cart. But the true secret is to become a disruptor. When you start asking those difficult questions, people respect you more, and then you start finding out more answers, and you start shooting to the moon. So that's extremely important. Question number 2 for Jonathan Gehrig is, what are you learning now?
Right now, I'm learning how to scale multiple businesses at the same time.
How does that look? How does that work? Schedule wise, hours wise, like what's a normal schedule look like for you?
Yeah, fortunately enough, I have a phenomenal person that helps me with my schedule. Not only does she help me with that, but
she is. She's great.
Yeah. So the big thing is just really being a master of my schedule. I have ADHD, so I'm very easily distracted. I have shiny object syndrome. Yeah. So without my planning, I will absolutely get off track. And so I treat my businesses like a consulting client. So fortunately enough, I can do that because I have a phenomenal team of consultants that help support my business. I've got a business partner. And so I plan out my days around the consulting clients that I need to talk to. I have those regularly scheduled. And then I have my actual working on my business is scheduled in my day. So not to leave anything open for chance. I put everything in the calendar.
Hey, did you lose some weight?
I did.
You look good, bro. How much weight did you lose?
Man. So fat wise, I probably lost about 12% body fat.
What pound wise is that?
Well, so I was at about 250, and I'm down to 230
Beefy.
right now.
Bing.
Yeah.
That's great, bro. Looking
Down to
good,
about,
bro. I'm sure
down
you
to
feel
about,
good too.
I feel great. I mean, I'm down to like 230, 235 range, but I'm a lot more muscular than I was. So I've definitely put on some muscle.
Yeah, that muscle adds some more weight to it as well. Question number 3 is, how has failure shaped your life?
Oh yeah, that's it. My entire career path, like everything I've done has been paved by failure. You know, it's funny. I'll speak to this in an example. You know, I had a huge contract, the biggest contract I'd ever signed, December of 2019 or 2020 actually, and 3 months later, due to the political landscape, as I was sort of told, like these, I had a handful of clients that just like decided to stop paying their contract, kind of fall off. It wasn't that we weren't getting success, but they were worried about
Sure.
the political landscape. So
Sure.
so they took a little break, and when you take a break, that nullifies our contract. And so that put me in a situation where I had to make some pretty big decisions in specifically in my consulting business. And had that not happened, we would not have done what we've done up until this point, because that caused me to go and actually partner with someone that I've known for about 15 years. And he'd been knocking at my door. So that's an example, right? There was some failure there that caused me to go and do some thinking about how am I going to get past this little bit of failure. But I could go back to when I was not all the way back to being 19 years old and starting my first business. And failure has absolutely paved the way for me being able to help the companies that I currently help. You know, I talked to a company today that the reason why they wanted to work with me was because I'd been in business for as long as I've been in business for, and I'd had the ups and downs and the failures, and they want to avoid
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Oh, absolutely. That's a great point. I mean, there's the guru, right? The guru out there that's never failed and never done anything, never struggled. And I don't want to learn anything from those people. I mean, no disrespect to them. They may be the greatest people of all time. But if you've actually never struggled and been through the tough, really, really tough times, what do you really know? I mean, that's more respectable than time, right? I mean, like to know what it feels like to actually fail. It's extremely important. Not only that, like you said, hey, if that failure happened, you would never open up the doors that were right in front of you. I mean, so you have to like close one door and open up the next door. And it's obviously if the first door would have never closed, you would never been where you are today. It's so important. Question number 4 is, who do you know that I should know?
Oh, I know plenty of people you should know, my friend.
Let's go.
Yeah, man, I mean, look, I have over the years, I've developed a book of venture capitalists that like funding
Great,
businesses. I've
that.
created relationships with individuals who have multiple Ivy League degrees and are highly credentialed individuals. And
Well, give me one person. Or
one
two
person.
People. Give me one or two people.
Yeah, for one person that you should absolutely know is Dr. Lubna Raji.
Okay.
Dr. Lubna Raji, she's an executive level coach, 2 Ivy League degrees, dual citizenship, speaks 4 or 5 languages, just a phenomenal individual. Is an adjunct professor at Rutgers MBA program. She's a current client of ours, but I respect her so much. She has done and accomplished a lot. She's actually cited in over 380 white papers.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I would love the introduction. If you could send me an email with me, introducing me and her, that'd be great. I'd love to get her on the show as well. I love talking to smart people. I mean, it makes the show better, makes me better, selfishly, I mean, that's all I'm trying to do as well, to get better. So that'd be great.
I got one more for you. So
yeah,
John Bassford, another individual you should know, a gentleman who went to law school, got his bar, all that stuff, and decided to actually become an operations consultant very successfully. A phenomenal individual. The 2 people that were just the forefront of my mind that I wanted to introduce you to. And he is very, very good at helping startup companies successfully set up automated HR and financial systems, which is one of the biggest challenges they have. But just a brilliant individual.
Well, again, I would love the opportunity. If you can connect us through email, that would be awesome, because I love people like that. I love intelligent people having intelligent conversations, because again, selfishly, it just makes me better. And I love meeting people like that. So I'd appreciate that. Isn't that great, having like a Rolodex of like important people on your phone?
It is.
It's so underrated to where you could pick up the phone and call anybody. And man, it's like Gosh, I'm so blessed to have people on my phone too. And hey, you're on my phone, brother. And I appreciate that as well. Question number 5 is, what have you read that I should read?
Ooh, I got some great books for you to read, but I'll tell you the one that I'm in right now that I highly recommend as a father is The Intentional Father by John Tyson.
Okay. What's that about? I'm sure it's
This
an
is
audiobook, right?
actually, it's not. I literally have the physical copy here. I don't even know if he has an audio book, but this is on how to be an intentional father and raise your son. Well, this is specifically to raise your sons, but it'll work if you've got daughters.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Raise your kids with integrity, faith, and just a phenomenal. I really believe in the word intentionality, and so when I came across this, actually, a pastor recommended it on his Facebook, and I went and checked it out, and I was like, this is really good, because I believe intentionality is a missing. It's easy to be exhausted and not be intentional, right? And sort of miss a couple of weeks. But yeah, definitely highly recommend The Intentional Father. And the other one is More Relaxing, Less Taxing by Courtney Epps. 2 books that I'm in right now. Why you should. This woman is just a phenomenal tax person, especially if you have a home-based business.
So you're physically talking about taxes. More relaxing, less taxing.
This is like a straight up like the tax guru. I share this as an example, because I've gone through a number of CPAs and accountants that really didn't know what they were doing, even though they claimed to know what they were doing. And as a business owner, we don't want to have to think about that stuff. And it's really hard to find a CPA that knows how to intentionally help you with the tax breaks that we have legally given to us as business owners.
Yeah, for sure. Question number 6 is, what have you done that I should do?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, you should have a 4th kid.
No, that's physically impossible.
Yeah, well, I'm joking. Yeah, you have that 4th one, and you're like, wow, this is, but
I would tell you this when it comes to kids, though. Like, I'm at a point now with my youngest is 10, my oldest is 15. And man, I don't know. I enjoyed the kids. It's like anything. If I ask you right now, hey, do you enjoy your kids at the age that they are? Yes, it's the greatest. They're the best. They're great. They're a lot of fun. If I ask you the same exact question 6 years from now, do you enjoy the kids or your kids at the age that they're at? You're going to say, I like it a lot more now than what it was before. But it just gets better and better and better. And I love the age of my kids now, 15, 12, and 10. And I wouldn't have it any other way. They're amazing. They're smart. And what's interesting, not to go on a tangent, but my 15-year-old, God love him. Him and I, the day he was born, I knew he was just a different kid. Like, him and I just don't see eye to eye on anything. Doesn't like sports. All he wants to do is read. He's a completely, he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He wants to sit in his room and read and just learn. And that, for me, that's outside of my box. I want to talk to everybody. I want to be friends with everybody. But in the last 6 months to a year, it's just been me and him hanging out. I'm learning so much more about myself and learning more about him. And it's just a different relationship. I would rather have this relationship now at 15 than I did at 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, all the other ages with him. It just gets better and better, man. And I'm so proud of him, and I'm actually just speechless for the words of how proud I am of him at 15. That we're so different, completely different, like night and day different. Yet I respect him so much and I love him so much, because our relationships have grown so much in the last even 6 months. And man, it's so cool. And I don't even know where I was going with the conversation. Oh, you said to have another kid. The 3 kids I got now are at the perfect ages, and I would, I'm just, again, I'm happier than I've ever been with my kids, and it only gets better, man. Like, for another example, why I'm going to random kid stories, and I'll steal my podcast because it's you and me talking anyways. But man, my 10-year-old, he's into golf, and I'm a terrible golfer, but it's me and him golfing constantly, one-on-one time, 4 hours of playing 18 holes, and you learn so much about life and situations and attitude. And we joke around. I'll make fun of him. He'll get mad at me on while we're playing. And then we're best friends. And by the time we get done, it's just, there's so many cool things when the kids just get a little bit older. It's the best time of my life right now. At age 43 with 3 kids my youngest is 10. Can't get any better, brother. I don't want any more kids. I guess long story short, I don't want any more kids.
Yeah.
Because I got the best of the best. And you got 4 boys, man. I can't imagine what 10 years from now is going to look like for you. I
Oh,
mean,
we're
holy
pumped. I'll
shit,
tell
bro.
you one thing. If your kid's into golf, and I've recommended this to kids before who were into sports, and they really loved it, right? They were like, I have a 4-year-old who's more interested than all of the other 5 and 6.5-year-olds on the 5 and 6-year-old team. They let him play up. He started when he was 3 with the 5 and 6-year-olds. He's more
awesome.
into it. And this kid cranks him out at 4 years old. He's hitting the ball harder than the 6-year-olds, right?
Isn't that crazy?
It's wild, but he's into it, right? He wants to do it. My older boy, he kind of wants to dink around and kick the flowers, and that's fine. I don't chastise him for it. Do what you want. You want to sit out, you sit out. You don't have to play. But for your son, one of the best books, top 3 books I've ever read was by Lanny Basham, gold medalist in the Olympics in shooting. But this guy coaches golfers. And in his book, With Winning in Mind, I used that book and intentionally I thought about golf while I read it because that's what he talks a lot about in the book.
Yeah.
And when I went out and played for the first time in 7 years, I kept up with the other guys that played weekly. And they said, "How much do you play?" And I said, I play up here. I play right up here. So With Winning in Mind, go have them read that book. I'll tell you what, one of the best books I've ever read. It helped for business, for personal life. That is one of the best books I've ever read. And it will absolutely, there's a story in there where there's actually a prison, someone who was in prison and he read the book and then he came out and played 18 holes and hit under par or something like that. This guy played in his mind every day. It just goes to show how powerful we are, which leads me to my other real answer to your question. What's something that I've done that you haven't done? And if you haven't intentionally read the Bible in the Hebrew,
Well,
I don't care if you've read the Bible in the New King James Version, the New International Version, but if you go and if you intention, I'm not talking about reading the whole Bible. I'm talking about go read some of the Bible in the Hebrew, and what you will find is that the original text is not what we're reading.
Well, I agree with that. But the problem I have, it's not a problem. It's a mental block that I have when I read the Bible. I wish it's been translated and changed 1,000 times. Why can't someone translate it into actually normal language for today? When you start throwing he's and thys, and I'm trying to like translate this, like, why don't you just tell a story about it, actually real words that I can understand today? And why not? If it's been translated 10,000 times anyways, why can't you translate it to actually a real word? Because what wears me out, maybe I'll read that.
Someone did.
Okay, well, maybe I need to read that because that shit wears me out, bro. I can't stand hearing the Bible talk. Go ahead.
It's very difficult. I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but I agree with you. Francois Dutoit, he wrote this. If you get his 10th edition, it's called the Mirror Bible, the Mirror Study Bible. He translates and does it directly from Hebrew into today's language. And when you read it, you're going to say, why didn't I hear this the first time? Why didn't I hear about this the first time? So that's one little tip I'll give you is you don't have to go read the Hebrew. You could just get Francois Dutoit's book, and he's constantly writing more and more of it. But this book's massive, and he's just basically through the New Testament.
Well, if it's actually in English, that I don't have to use the word thy and thee and like these random ass words that we haven't used in 2,000 years.
In English.
Yeah, in English. I would be interested in reading it because, whether I agree or disagree, and who knows, I'm not looking to get changed. I'm looking to learn, right? Like I'm looking to figure out and have a logical conversation. I think that one of the tensions with people that tell you that you should read the Bible, the first thing they say is that I'm gonna transform you. Here's this, read this. I don't want you to try and transform me, and that shouldn't be your intention. Like I want to learn. Like give me something I can read that's in English that I can actually resonate with. And then let me just read it as a story because there's so many great stories in the Bible. I mean, I respect a lot of things in the Bible. I just have a lot of concerns and questions about the time frame, and there's just a lot of issues in there.
Well, let me speak to that. Let's tangent for a second. Is that all right? Can we tangent for a second?
Absolutely, brother.
I want to speak to that because the questions that we have for God are actually a form of worship. But we were told at some point in time not to question God. Whether it was advertently or inadvertently, We were told not to question God, but that's actually a form of worship. And so what you'll learn when you read the original intent of the scriptures, all that we have, right? Because remember, Jesus did so many works that it would do more than fill every book in the world at the time that it was done. What needs to be understood is that this is supposed to be a love language to the co-creators, which we are the same as Jesus. And it's blasphemous to most people to hear that. We were actually designed to be Elohim, which is God's. When he said we created Elohim, he created us as co-creators. He created us to be one and the same with Christ. So I'll leave it at that and tell you that when you go and read it from the perspective of worthiness and creative, the reason why we have the ability to build these skyscrapers and build the cities that we build is because we're creators. We're meant to be creators. We're not meant to grovel and constantly beg. We have the ability and the creative capacity to develop what we want to create. And that's what the Bible says.
I would agree with all that. It'd be an interesting other conversation we have another show, because I would be, I got sneeze. I'm a double sneezer. I may not bring another one, but I'm always, the religions that I know today, they're very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like, if you're not on our team, you're out. What do you call it? Tribalism. They're very tribal. And I despise anything that has to do anything with tribalism. It's if you're not Christian, you're going to hell. If you're not Catholic, why aren't your kids getting baptized? It's us against everybody else. And I can't stand that. Like, I don't understand that at all. It's to me, that is completely, from what I understand as quote unquote God, that is completely anti-God, to just count people out because they don't believe exactly word for word what you believe in. And you get into to be a Lutheran, Christian, Catholic, Buddhism, being Jewish, you name the religion, it's all of us. If you're not with us, we're against you. And we may not say that like that brutally honest, but in reality, that's kind of what they're thinking. And that to me is such bullshit. If you take all of that away, all of the tribalism away, and they're all worshiping essentially the same God, which, for me, I don't really know if that's an actual terminology where the word God, G-O-D, came from. And I don't, I'm sure that's in the Bible. I'm sure that's a lot of stories about that, but I look at it a higher source, a higher energy, I don't know what. There's something, this is why I'm agnostic at best, is because there's something there as an energy source. When I walk into a room and I feel a different energy, if I walk into, it's unexplainable. It's like explaining the unexplainable is impossible. And for someone to act like they know what they're talking about and saying that you're either with us or against us is completely, to me, it's disrespectful. It's illogical. It makes me think that, to be honest, I'm not trying to be a dick, but they're dumb. I'm sorry. If you think that you're the only way, you're the only religion. If you think it's Catholicism is the only religion and everybody else is going to hell, you're dumb. I'm sorry, because I think there are so many great things within spirituality, and having a God that oversees everything. Man, it's tough for me. It's tough. And again, I know I'm going on a tangent, but it's tough for me to have the conversation because there's universes and planets and been around for millions of years and dinosaurs but there had, what is there a starting point for all of this? Billions and billions and billions and billions and trillions of years ago, what was the actual starting point for all of this? There has to be a starting point, right? I would assume. But what does that look like? And is my small pea brain I can't even crack or even begin to describe or understand the power or the unexplainable. Like, I don't even know how to talk about it. And for people to say that they know all about it, and this is the way, stop. You're embarrassing yourself. You don't know. You know what you've been told year after year and Sunday after Sunday. You can regurgitate shit. Like kind of what we were talking about earlier. You can talk about it, but do you really have any meaning behind it? If I challenge you with questions about bullshit, like what about, the billions of planets out there, billions of stars out there? That's not, the oldest religion I think is 10,000 years old. That doesn't make any sense to me. And that's why I don't think religions really make too much sense to me. But is there a higher power, a higher being that started all of this a billion trillion years ago? Maybe, but there's something else out there. There has to be. Everything can't be ironic. Everything can't be situational. Things don't just happen for a reason, I don't think. I think things happen for a reason because there may be a higher force. If you take the initiative, things will happen for you in the good ways. And maybe there is life after death. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to comprehend that. And when people tell me they know the answer, I say bullshit. I know that was a long tangent, but I say bullshit.
But I love the tangent, and I will tell you that I will accept your invite to come back on and chat about it.
That would be great. Well, hey, last question, and it's I've got dinner reservations in 7 minutes, 3 blocks away, so we're all good. But last question is, Jonathan, how can I add value to you?
Man, you've done it today. I think having a valuable conversation with a brother that I love adds energy to my life. So I appreciate you asking me questions and showing interest in my life. It's not often that you get time to do that when you're a business owner. It's not often that you get a chance to do that, right? That someone else shows interest in your life. So I appreciate you.
I always have interest. I always ask Kalua about you all the time, and it's just a matter of time, brother. I mean, I know our schedules haven't lined up, but we need to talk more often. I know we've talked from time to time on different things, and I would love to collaborate on some kind of deal and opportunity with you. It'd be a lot of fun. That's really the way I look at it, man. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll meet some people and help a lot of people out. That'd be a lot of fun. So we'll do that soon. And as a friend, I haven't done the best job of staying in touch with you as well. So I accept responsibility for that, but I'll get better at that too. So, but more importantly, man, I appreciate you jumping on the show. Tell everybody around the galaxy where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at, you can email me, Jonathan@armorup.io if you ever want to just have a conversation. That's ARMORUP.io. I'm also on LinkedIn, Jonathan Gehrig II. Gehrig is GEHRIG. And you can always feel free to drop by our website, armorup.io.
I'll tell everybody out there, just get at them. I mean, the people that, I don't know if you know this, you probably don't know this, but about a month ago, 2 months ago, I canceled all the guests that I don't know. Because I had so many guests that come on the show, like my email still gets blown up with people. Hey, I want to get in the show. And I canceled everybody. I want to get people on my show that I know, like, and trust. And obviously having you on the show is important to me. It makes my life easier, but the conversations are even better. But everybody out there listening, man, oh man, reach out to Jonathan, ask questions like that I've asked today. Follow him on social media. I mean, man, oh man, that's probably one of the best ways to get really in touch with them and ask hard questions, because I guarantee you he will respond. If you've first time listening to the show, man, much love. Remember iTunes, leave those 5-star reviews. I appreciate you more than you know. I say it every single episode. You've got greatness within. Like always, this is the positive side.